Back here at Border City Ale House, it is the Monday Night Football doubleheader. I'm Adrian Broadus, and I'm on site at 1506 Lee Trevino on El Paso's east side, filling in for Steve Kaplowitz today. Our telephone number, 915-505-6009 to get into the program. Alongside Alberto Reta and Sebastian Perez Navarro, they're back at our River Oaks property, Schoolyard Sports Studios. But I am on site today, and I'm getting ready for a doubleheader. We've got 2 weeks in a row of a Monday Night Football doubleheader. Tonight, it gets started at 5:30. Jacksonville at Buffalo. It's the 0-2 Jags taking on the 2-0 Bills, and this is happening at 5:30. Also, 6:15 Commanders, Bengals. Another interesting game that'll be taking place, and that will be heard right here on 600 ESPN El Paso on the conclusion here today of Sports Talk. You could join us for Border City Ale House. We've got great specials going on right now. $3.50, $4.50, $5.50 pints, $4 Jim Beam. Happy hour is happening here right now all the way till 7 o'clock tonight. So come by. Take advantage of the early start to some of these Monday Night Football games. Come out and join us. If you're not a fan of these teams, who cares? Just join us and watch some great football. You might have some fantasy players who are going to be playing tonight between these four teams. And you could just come out and join us and register for some great prizes. We've got $6 nachos that are happening here, $6 queso and loaded fries. Also, $4 22-ounce domestic drafts and $4 Hornitos, $4 Crowns, and $4 Tito's, all happening here at Border City Ale House, the home of Monday Night Football. I talked about prizes. Let's give you all of what we are doing. And speaking of all, I went out to All That Music and Video, and man, that is my spot. You know, I'm just going off the top right here. I'm not even having to read out an ad read or anything like that for this one. I love All That Music and Video, just period. I go there to buy my vinyl. I love their records. I love to support local. And when I go out there and get some of the prizes, I'm always amazed. Today we've got a Pop Funko of Trevor Lawrence, a Pop Funko of Joe Burrow, a Pop Funko of Josh Allen. And we also got Commanders lanyards. We've got keychains for Washington. We've got keychains for the Cincinnati Bengals. We also have nice swag from the Buffalo Bills. We've got a T-shirt from 93.1, our partner station, Kiss FM. We've got some cool trading cards as well. We've got some UTEP football tickets. We've got it all. And thanks to All That Music and Video collection, they are helping us out with some of these prizes and giveaways. Check them out at the Fountains. They've got the largest selection of new, graded, and protected vintage vinyl here in El Paso, and that's All That Music and Video. Big shout out to Tom and the team. We were talking some Seahawks football today, and man, we got to talk a lot of football today. There's a lot to get into on the program. Our telephone number, 915-505-6009, 600 ESPN El Paso on Twitter and X, and 600ESPNElPaso.com, where you can check out some of the coverage, some of the recaps from over the weekend. Okay. Let's get started. Let's jump into it all, okay? So number one, Dallas Cowboy fans, are you happy today knowing that the Cowboys rallied back in the second half and made Baltimore look a little embarrassed in that second half, trying to mount a pretty crazy comeback? Are you happy, or are you more discouraged that the Cowboys lose back-to-back at home, one being the Saints last week, this week being Baltimore? Where are you at if you're a Cowboy fan? That's my first question right now. I'm throwing it out there. Number two, here's the second thing on the agenda. Man, the San Francisco 49ers. I'm wearing my Los Angeles Rams shirt today. I'm feeling great. What a comeback there by the Rams. They've always been at the tail end of losses for this 49ers squad. It feels like over the past 3-4 seasons. 49er fans will argue to me, well, hey, Rams won when it mattered in the NFC Championship game to go to the Super Bowl, 2-3 years ago. I get it. But still, I felt like in the regular season, the 49ers always had the better advantage of the Rams. But, man, Matthew Stafford, we take him for granted as just a collective football audience. They did not have Puka Nacua. They did not have Cooper Kupp. And they did not have an offensive line. You look at that offensive front, it's depleted. Yet they were able to somehow come back and rally back. I mean, I honestly turned the game off at one point. I was so disgusted with the Rams. I knew it was going to be a tough game for them. But they rally back in the fourth quarter to tie it up, and then they win it in the end. I was just shocked. I am shocked as a Rams fan that the Rams ended up pulling that one off. And if you're a 49er fan, here's my second point and my second question. Are you pushing the panic button right now? There's, injuries galore on that San Francisco team. They've got the best talent when healthy, no question about it, in the NFL. Forget the NFC. I think in the NFL. And then on the flip side to all of this right here for San Francisco and for the 49ers, are you starting to doubt your head coach in these late-game situations, and Kyle Shanahan? I mean, some of the decisions that were made yesterday by the coaching, he got out-coached. I mean, McVay out-coached Shanahan yesterday with far inferior talent across the board. So that's my second point. Number 3, UTEP football. They opened practice. I said UTEP football. UTEP men's basketball. They opened up practice today. Big news for UTEP basketball. There's a lot to talk about with UTEP men's basketball, and we'll get into that. UTEP women's basketball also opened up practice today as well. Keitha Adams, year 2. A lot of new faces on that UTEP women's basketball team. So we'll get into that here in a little bit on the program. Also want to mention, man, what a full slate of games yesterday. And an exciting slate. The Steelers somehow 3-0 on the season. Vikings 3-0, unprecedented. Aaron Jones absolutely killing it right now in Minnesota for a quarterback that everybody wrote off, Sam Darnold. I mean, Aaron Jones, 19 carries, over 100 yards and a touchdown again. He's playing great. He's doing a lot of great things out there. So we could talk NFL storylines. We could talk a little UTEP here. But where I'm leading off the show here and starting off the whole segment, the whole show here on Monday Night Football, is talking about being right and being wrong, okay? And here and hang with me here on this. So over the weekend, I noticed that, or I thought in my head, there's absolutely no way UTEP is going to deviate on the football side from going with Skylar Locklear as their quarterback. They're going to ride or die with them. That's what I thought. I thought whether it was bad, whether it was good, whether it was really bad, I thought they would roll out Skylar Locklear the entire season, make him QB1, no question about it, and not make him have to look over his shoulder for Cade McConnell. I was wrong, and I'm willing to come here on a Monday and tell everybody that I was wrong in that Cade McConnell stepped in, and I didn't think this would actually happen. A halftime benching. Skylar Locklear goes 7 of 14, under 60 yards passing in that first half against Colorado State. Miners go into the break down 14-3. Then Cade McConnell steps in the second half. Yeah, granted, they had a punt block. They had disaster everywhere on the field, and it was a 21-3 game, really, when Cade started to cooking for that offense. But Cade McConnell rallies back with that UTEP football team. And now, are we back to a quarterback controversy? Are we back to uncertainty as far as the offense? I don't really know. But what I do know is McConnell provided a spark. Cade provided a spark for this UTEP offense this weekend against Colorado State. And so I ask UTEP fans the same questions that I've been asking so far. Are you looking for that quarterback change right now? Do you believe that Cade McConnell should be the quarterback moving forward? Or are you in more of a wait-and-see approach? I mean, hey, he scores 2 touchdowns. He throws for over 200 yards in that game, but he doesn't get the win. So do you go with Skylar Locklear as they take on Sam Houston in their first real Conference USA Thursday night weeknight action game that's coming up next week? Or do you use this bye week to help motivate, inspire, and teach and watch as Skylar Locklear learns throughout the process and roll him back as a starter next week? We can get into it all. Let's talk about it. 915-505-6009, 600 ESPN El Paso on Twitter and X, and 600 ESPNElPaso.com. We can talk all things here to start things off on a busy Monday afternoon here on the program. Let's get it started. We're going to take a lot of calls today, so we could do it here on the program. If you've got NFL conversations, if you want to talk college football, if you want to talk UTEP, let's do it. 915-505-6009. Let's go out to the phone lines right now. Orly is going to join us first on the phone lines. Orly, good afternoon, man. Oh, thank you for calling here on the program today. What's going on?
Well, you know me. I'm not like certain fans. I call win or lose. Shanahan, there's a lot of questions about his decision-making, but you can't catch the ball he can't get the guy to catch the ball. Bell has that ball right in his hand. I mean, there's no reason on the 27 with a 55 second.
Orly, we lose you. Oh, Orly, we lost Orly there on the program. Orly, give us a call back. We
had a great game. Jennings stepped up. But the game's played in 3 phases. You've got, offense, defense, and special teams. And it's been back-to-back where the special teams have let them down. In Minnesota, he had a blocked punt that led to a touchdown. Now you've got, Moody. I'm not sold on him. He cost them the Cleveland game last year. Similar situation. Am I panicking? No, because I know they're going to get healthy down the road. The key is you got to win the games you got to win. If they blow it to New England this week, then you got a problem. I don't see that happening. Of course, I didn't see that happening with the Rams, but that's a divisional game. Anything can go in that game. I feel that I'm not panicking. We've been down this road before, and we'll just see what happens. Let it play out. It's a long season. As far as UTEP, leave Cade in there. It's obvious he sparks the team. Nothing against the other quarterback, but I just don't think he's tall enough. Isn't Cade a little taller?
Oh, yeah. Cade's like 6'1", 6'2".
Yeah,
Skyler's like 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah, there's a big difference. And I just think Cade brings a little more flair. He can't run as good as he can, but, man, he can throw the ball. And I was happy to see him do well because he stuck it out when everybody else left. So, he's enthralled to be with the team. And, I think that's the key. The schedule should get a little softer now because Conference USA is not exactly a powerhouse conference, guys. It's not going to be. You're not going to go up against Power 5, Power 4 groups. So the only other game I think it's going to be hard on them is going to be that Tennessee game. Just get the check and get out without any injuries. But yeah, I think he'll be fine. I think there should not be a quarterback controversy. I think he proved himself. He moved the team and had a chance to win or tie that game. He was there in the game. The guy doesn't go offsides. That's a pick six. So it is what it is. But anyway, congratulations to your Rams. It's early. You got to come back out. You got to come back to Levi later in the season. We'll see what happens there. But otherwise than that, let's see how many calls we get from that other fan base. I'm not going to make the bet this time.
I like it, Orly. Hey, I appreciate the phone call, Orly. Thanks for weighing in on the program. We'll talk to you later, Orly. 915-505-6009. As far as the Cade, the only comment I have as far as Cade McConnell and stepping in with UTEP football, this is the last thing I'll say, and then we're going to take the break, and then we'll come back. We've got Daniel, and we've got Luis standing by. The last thing I'll say about Cade is sticking it out, right? Because there's one thing of sticking it out over the offseason. There's another thing sticking it out during the season when things aren't going your way. And things really weren't going Cade's way, obviously. It doesn't take us on the inside to be a rocket science to know that. He wanted the starting gig. He wanted it badly. And when Skyler Locklear was named the starting quarterback, as a backup quarterback, your job is to just be prepared for any moment. And that's what he did all of last year. But he never really thought he would get that opportunity, yet he did. And then this time around, it just took a first half for Scotty Walden to say, hey, enough of this first half with Skyler. Let's see if we can get a spark with Cade. And they got the spark in the second half that they desperately needed. Let's see what happens moving forward. If I had to go into any scenario right there, I'm saying, of course, go with the hot hand. Go with Cade McConnell, who brought some life, or I should say, brought some life to that offense that otherwise just didn't really have a lot of success in that first half or recently under Skyler at quarterback. So we could talk about that. We could talk, of course, Cowboys football, 915-505-6009. And, we got to get into the story. Pac-12 interests starting to go away. Memphis, Tulane, South Florida, UTSA all say no to the Pac-12. We'll talk about that and where that leaves UTEP in the Mountain West. Plenty more coming up. We are live. Border City Ale House just getting underway for Monday Night Football coverage. Adrian brought us here along with Alberto Reta and Sebastian Perez Navarro. We'll take a break right now. When we come back, more sports talk here on 600 ESPN El Paso. kind of candidates are out there right now, and we'll talk all of it right here. 600 ESPN El Paso as we continue. But let's go back to the phones right now. We've got some phone calls to get to, 915-505-6009. Let's start things off with Pinky. He's joining us first, 915-505-6009. Pinky, good afternoon. What's happening, my friend?
Hey, nice to talk to you and to Alberto. Hey, real quick, tell that guy that called earlier that I'm a Cowboys fan and I'll never change, just like he did when he changed to the San Francisco 49ers. Hey, that's enough on the Cowboys. On UTEP, what's going on?
I'm just laughing. I'm laughing at you. I'm laughing at you, Pinky, because you're calling out Orly. You're saying, "Hey, Orly, we hear you, Orly." You're saying that no Cowboy fans will call in. Well, I'm calling in right there. There you go, Pinky. I like it. Good stuff. Throwing the jab.
I tried to call in last week when you did that statement, but the lines were busy. Surprisingly, real good. But real quick on the UTEP, Cade is the right choice. We said that a long time ago. We said that since last year that he should have started. 2. I hope they get into some conference that UTEP gets into a conference where it's more time zone friendly. And you don't have to play on Wednesday, Thursdays, or Fridays to get on TV. So, I'm just hoping for the best for UTEP and for all the fans and everybody. Because, going to Wednesday and Thursday night games at the Sun Bowl is a pain. But that's my point on that. And the UTEP volleyball team, awesome, man. Those ladies are just awesome. I saw them this weekend and got a chance to see how they play. The lady volleyball team is awesome. Go Bulldogs, and that's all I got. Have a good day, sir.
Good stuff there, Pinky. I appreciate the phone call. Thanks for weighing in on the program, 915-505-6009. Let's spend a quick minute here talking a little UTEP volleyball. What a weekend they had, 3 in a row over the weekend, getting ready for conference play. I mean, they're handling business as usual. I don't want to overhype this weekend because they expected to win this whole weekend. They did not think that they were going to lose at any point this weekend. They want to keep their home match streak alive, their home win streak alive, and that's exactly what this team did. Just props to them, props to Coach Wallace, props to this volleyball squad. It seems like Club Memorial. Jason Craig is the DJ at Club Memorial, but I saw from all his posts over the weekend, it was rocking. They had a great crowd Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and hey, they're going up against the NFL, and they're still getting a lot of people to come out and watch some UTEP volleyball, which is great stuff, Alberto, and the fact that conference play is right around the corner, well, I think that's a good thing for this team who's playing pretty well right here.
Yeah, the team's playing lights out. I really I commend the team. They bring it every time they step onto the field. And I was reading off some of the stats for the things that didn't go out. But look, UTEP had 55 kills against Texas A&M Corpus Christi over the weekend. Only 29 errors, 152 attempts, and 75 points, 49 assists, 8 aces, and 12 blocks. They're great at blocking. I know Kaya Weaver in one of the matches, she had like 12 blocks alone. So, yeah, it's definitely worth going out there, even if they compete with the NFL.
Nice. I like it, man. Good stuff. UTEP volleyball, a little segment or a little quick nugget on them. So appreciate Pinky's call. Let's keep it moving. 915-505-6009. We're taking a bunch of calls here in this first hour and second hour, and then we're getting you ready, obviously, for Monday Night Football live here from Border City Ale House. We've got some great prizes. Come on by, stop by, register for prizes and giveaways. Our telephone number again, 915-505-6009. Next up on the program, it is Luis who's joining us next. Luis, good afternoon, my friend. What's going on?
Hail, Adrian. Hail, Adrian. How are ya?
What's happening, Luis? It's good to hear from you, my pal. What's happening?
Always. And greetings and salutations to my good friend Orly. I've known Orly for over, 20 years, man. Listen, I'm not too happy, as you know. I've been a Cowboy fan since 1960. Let me start with CeeDee Lamb. $136 million contract for his, his temper tantrum yesterday after dropping the pass in the red zone and then crying and bitching and yelling at the quarterback, Dak Prescott. The other guy, the cornerback, Kalen Carson, he was filling in for Jerome Bland. He was beat in coverage, my man, several times against the Saints, and he did it again against the Ravens yesterday. Lamar Jackson, he found Nelson Aguilar, who's always been superb. I mean, a man-out route, and Carson was in position to make the tackle. The other dude, the offensive tackle Tyler Guyton, he's been accumulating a lot of penalties the past two games. I don't know what you think about this. And the other guy, defensive tackle, Moxie Smith, he was completely overmatched, and I underline that. The Cowboys still have not solved their defensive tackle issues in the middle of this run defense. I mean, Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb, they were out of sync, man. Lamb had 4 receptions for 67 yards, and they lost a fumble in the red zone. He only had 1 reception for 9 yards in the second half. Prescott, at the end, he was good, 28 for 51 for 379 yards, 2 touchdowns. Now, what I think about McCarthy, he should go. Fuera, out.
You're upset. You're upset right now. Luis, you're upset. I like it. Hey, I appreciate the phone call, my friend. Luis, thanks for weighing in. Look, where you're trying to point the finger of blame, I appreciate you taking notes where you're really dissecting both sides of the ball. I mean, whether it's Guyton, the first-round draft pick out of Oklahoma, who's disappointing you, or Mozzie Smith, the D-lineman from last year, who's second-round or whatever first-round pick, who's also disappointing you. Look, you could even – the one – player that you can say who's hurting the Cowboys, Brandon Aubrey, their kicker, my goodness, going a 65-yarder yesterday. He's like a human highlight reel himself. But I digress. The Cowboys don't have a run game. They're relying everything on Dak Prescott. He might be the NFL leader in passing yards, and it might not matter because at the end of the day, what difference does it make if you're not winning these games? And, you're scoring 19 touchdowns, but how many of those were the Ravens ready to just write off and say, oh, it's okay, they can get whatever? And how many of those were the Ravens actually going for? That's another part of it, too. I mean, it's easy to pick apart defenses and get some big plays happening offensively if you're the Cowboys when you're playing from behind and throwing all over the place. So I hear where you're coming from, Luis. I appreciate the phone call. Thanks for weighing in. Our telephone number, if you want to talk some NFL, 915-505-6009. Good string of phone calls. Let's keep that momentum going. But before we do that, it's the bottom of the hour. Let's go out to here. This is Sebastian Perez Navarro who's going to deliver this bottom of the hour Sports Center update.
Thanks, Adrian. Let's get to the headlines. After limping in the third quarter, Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold has no structural damage to the knee. The Minnesota Vikings breathed a sigh of relief today upon learning that quarterback Sam Darnold's left knee is not seriously injured. Tests revealed a bruise, but no structural damage, Coach Kevin O'Connell said, and Darnold is not expected to miss much in any time in preparation for the team's Week 4 matchup at the Green Bay Packers. I quote, "It's a little sore," O'Connell said, but hoping Sam can have a normal week of preparation as we go through it. The injury occurred with 3 minutes, 50 seconds remaining in the third quarter of Sunday's 34-7 victory over the Texans, in which Darnold had a stellar performance throwing for 4 touchdowns. Let's stick it with the NFL. Las Vegas Raiders are still pondering a quarterback change. The Raiders coach Antonio Pierce would not rule out making a quarterback change from Gardner Minshew to Aiden O'Connell after O'Connell's late-game touchdowns drive the Raiders' blowout loss to the Carolina Panthers. "We've got a lot of players and just evaluate everything first, Pierce said Monday in his weekly media press conference, which was delayed more than an hour due to extra meetings with its coaching staff. We talked about the Pac-12 before. Let's extend that conversation because there might be another factor, as Reggie Bush is suing both USC, the Pac-12, and the NCAA for NIL compensation. Reggie Bush, the 2005 Heisman winner, has filed a lawsuit against the University, the Pac-12, and the NCAA seeking compensation for his name, image, and likeness during his time. In the filing, Bush's legal team said that three organizations earned significant compensation thanks to Bush's significant popularity and prominence. Simply a sneak peek of the Pac-12 conversation upcoming. That's your SportsCenter update at the bottom of the hour. I'm Sebastian Perez Navarro.
Good stuff, Sebastian. Appreciate that. Let's keep it moving. 915-505-6009 here on the program. 600 ESPN El Paso on Twitter and X, and 600 ESPNElPaso.com as we continue here on the program. There's a lot of stuff going on when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. People feel both ways. They feel, slighted by the Cowboys, feel like things are not going their way, feel like Mike McCarthy should be canned, feel like changes should happen and stuff like that. For some fans, it starts at the top. They blame their owner and their general manager. By definition, there it's Jerry Jones, and his son Stephen Jones, and kind of the operations. Or some fans are out there blaming Dak and saying, "Well, you paid this guy $240 million. You're paying him $60 million a season, and he's not producing, not winning games." And then there's the other fans who say it's way too early. I mean, the Cowboys right here, it's way too early to make any kind of judgments on them. They're 1-2 on the season, and there's still plenty of season left. I'm in the camp where I'm out on the Cowboys when it comes to the postseason because I've already seen it happen. That's where I judge teams, in the postseason. Can they win playoff games? Can they win in key moments, key spots? And this Cowboys regime, this addition of the Cowboys with Dak at the helm and everything like that, they've proven to me already that they're not ready to win those types of games. So I'm not there yet with this Cowboys group. I'm just not going to buy in until I see it, and I have to see it in the playoffs, not just see it here in the regular season. We've already seen that happen before. 915-505-6009. We could talk Cowboys. We could talk football. We could talk UTEP, and we could talk, of course, Mountain West realignment, expansion. No new news yet. But the Pac-12 has some updates, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. Let's go out to the phone lines and welcome on to the program Enrique here for the first time on a Monday afternoon. 915-505-6009. Enrique, happy Monday. What's going on?
Happy Monday. Was a heck of a weekend, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it started Friday, big high school football slate. Saturday, bunch of great college football games. And then Sunday, I'm just like in a football coma, man. I can't get enough of it.
That Illinois-Nebraska game, that was fun.
That was a lot of fun. I was paying attention to that one while I was covering some high school football. Illinois 4-0 on the season. Nebraska looks still pretty good, but yeah, that was a really competitive game. I really enjoyed the Michigan USC game on Saturday. I enjoyed watching Tennessee dominate on Saturday. Oklahoma. I mean, there's a lot of highlights, Enrique. Good stuff this weekend.
It was a lot of good stuff. But one thing I was going to ask you. I know a couple of weeks ago, and you're going to probably call me on it, which I deserve it. I was praising that we should sign Lamb. I'm not backtracking on that, but just to play devil's advocate, how many good seasons did Lamb have before his breakout season last year where we're like, okay, we can't lose this guy? If memory serves me correct, he was struggling his first two getting a coordination with Dak, and I don't know, it just usually seems we have the bad luck where we sign these guys to a record deal, they get paid, so to speak, and they just lose all that mojo.
I see where you're coming from, Enrique. I just say this. I mean, for CeeDee Lamb, 3 years, he's already played, or he's played since 2020. His first year was a bit of a down year, 935. But aside from that, he's been a 1,000-year receiver every single year, 2021, 2022, and then last year leading the league in receptions with 135, and then putting a 1,700-yard receiving season. So, I mean, last year he killed it as far as being one of the best offensive players of the year. This season, so starting off, I get it. He's not a traditional wide receiver one. He's never going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. or Marvin Harrison Sr. He's going to be like the best slot option you could find. So if you're okay with that, if you're okay with I'm not saying he's Tyreek Hill, but he plays that Tyreek Hill role. If you're okay with that for CeeDee Lamb, that's what you're paying for right there. That's what you're getting. You're not getting Justin Jefferson right here. You're not getting Jamar Chase. You're getting CeeDee Lamb. Does that make sense?
It really does. And I think what also hurts us is that's our only guy we can go to right now. If you look in the past greats, we had, we had the triplets. We had Michael Irvin, but we also had Jay Novacek. We also had the Moose. We also had a bunch of weapons where if they're going to double team Irvin, we're going to throw it down the middle to Novacek.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like,
we just don't
there's
have
a lot of no-name guys who were catching passes yesterday. Sorry, Enrique.
Oh, it's all good. So, you look at San Francisco, you look at Baltimore, you look at all these top teams, and they all have the same quality. They have 2-3 good receivers, and they got a good tight end, where if you're going to double up on one or two, you're not going to have enough back for that tight end.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Hey, I appreciate the thoughts, Enrique. I appreciate your conversation. I got to move along. Let me take one more call here, and then we're going to hit the break. If you're trying to get in on the program, 915-505-6009. Chuco is next. I'm going to duck in Chuco right before we get to the break. Chuco, good afternoon. Happy Monday. What's going on?
Good afternoon, Adrian. So I wanted to start with the good and congratulate the UTEP volleyball team. Played excellent all weekend long. Won all 3 matches, so kudos to them. They're seriously on a good track to really battle for the conference. So good for them.
Agreed completely. We touched on UTEP volleyball briefly, swept the weekend. They expected to do so, and I like the fact that we're in expectation territory for UTEP volleyball. That means good things.
Yes, and I wanted to this weekend's a football game, so Cade played great. I had a question to get your opinion on it. Do you think, I'm not taking anything away from his performance, but do you think that Colorado State's defense just didn't do their scouting on him, which might have helped him do better?
Sure, it could have been the case. You could have also attributed to the fact that they go into the half and they adjust for pass protection. I mean, think of the pockets that Skylar Locklear was facing against blitzes versus Cade's. I mean, Cade obviously was facing completely different things from that offensive front, and I think that's coaching adjustments that were made at half. So you could talk about a lot of different things. You could say that Cade is also not had an opportunity to go with the ones. So you might say that he came in with a disadvantage because he's not used to playing with that center. He's not used to playing with those receivers on the field. So you could look at it a couple different ways.
Well, I'm excited. And as I said when I called after the game, I know it's a Thursday night game coming up, but we still got to go out and support. I really think we're turning a corner, and I really do believe Cade is going to give us that spark. So, Miner fans, come on, go out and support volleyball and football.
Okay. I like it, Chuco. Hey, I appreciate the phone call. Thanks for weighing in, man. Our telephone number, 915-505-6009. Taking calls here in hour 1. Plus, we'll hear from the gang here in just a little bit. We've got comments coming in from Poncho, Noah Guerrero, Leo_Miner fan, and Pinky that we'll mention coming after this break. But for now, let's take a timeout. When we come back, more out here, Border City Ale House, Monday Night Football doubleheader. It's coming up. Jaguars taking on the Bills, then Commanders take on the Bengals. This is all here. 1506 Lee Trevino. Stop by for some Monday Night Football action. Taking a timeout right here. When we come back, more Sports Talk on 600 ESPN El Paso. Back here, Border City Ale House, as we continue. 1506 Lee Trevino. We're on El Paso's east side, registering people for prizes that will be given away at halftime. It's the Jaguars taking on the Bills coming up here, 5:30. We're taking you right up to Commanders Bengals, and that'll be heard right here, 600 ESPN El Paso. We've got great prizes from All That Music and Video. We've got prizes from Horizon Golf Course, prizes from the Oscar at the Agency. Stop by, register for them, enjoy a bite to eat, or enjoy some great drinks here at Border City Ale House. They've got happy hour going on till 7, $6 nachos, $6 queso and loaded fries. They've got $4 22-ounce domestic drafts, $4 Hornitos, $4 Crown, $4 Tito's. It's all happening here. Border City Ale House for Monday Night Football action here on 600 ESPN El Paso. We got a phone call to get to. It's Adam from the east side. He's coming up here in just a moment. Before we get to him, I also want to mention a couple tweets that have come in on the program. 600 ESPN El Paso on Twitter and X, and 600 ESPN El Paso on our free mobile app. That's where you can chat with us in real time. Poncho checked in. The good. Cade McConnell had a good game in the second half. The defense shows up and kept it close. The bad. Special teams allowing a blocked punt. The ugly. It took Scotty 3.5 games to realize Cade McConnell is a better quarterback, and no sense of urgency at the end of the first half. Hashtag Sports Talk. Interesting stuff there, Poncho. I appreciate that. It's interesting when you mention this one right here as far as the defense keeps showing up and keeping it close. I feel like defensively, the Miners could end up winning them one of these Conference USA games. Like, that's just how their defense plays. But we'll see what happens. I'll talk more about your bad and the ugly here later on. I mentioned a lot of that on Miner Talk, too. So, I appreciate it. I appreciate your thoughts here on the program as we continue. Hey, we're on El Paso's east side. I just want to mention this. This is a shout out to Adolfo who messaged this into the program. He wanted to promote the Lady Mavericks softball team fundraiser, which is happening on the west side. That's right, friends, family, fresh baked bread that's happening out at Texas Roadhouse on the west side. This is tonight. And this is one of our listeners, Adolfo. I'm just plugging this one right here as a friendly plug. So if you are on the west side, mention the Lady Mavericks softball team fundraiser. They're going out. They've got a great cause that's going on right now, and that's a big shout-out to one of our great listeners, Adolfo. Let's keep it moving on the phone lines, 915-505-6009. Adam from the east side is back with us. Adam, what's going on? How are you?
Hello?
Adam, what's going on? I can hear you now.
Hey, sounds good. How's it going? How have you been?
Adam, I've been good, man. I've been missing you. I've been missing your phone calls, but I'm happy to catch up with you right now. Give me everything. Catch me up with everything UTEP football in your eyes.
Everything UTEP football. Right now, I'm just keeping an eye on it from home. I think I told you, we had a baby, so our premature baby's, his immune system's not where it needs to be. But, not this year, but next year we'll be back at all the games. But we're still watching and keeping up. Definitely what one of the listeners said was, if Scotty Walden's brand is fast, fearless, and physical, if you have a minute and a half at the beginning of the first half, how do you not try to go get a field goal? It's inexcusable if that's the brand that you're portraying. Number two, Cade and Skyler. I mean, when you see the way that they run the offenses, Cade is head and shoulders above Skyler. I have no idea. I mean, all preseason, Scotty was saying that they're so neck and neck. Their numbers are so the same. For me, the difference between Cade and Skyler is he could make a play last longer. When the pocket breaks down, he can find a way out. He can roll out. He can find a different receiver to get the ball to. And so there's just a lot more intangibles that Cade has. So, there is a good chance that if Cade would have started the year, we could be 2-2 with a win against Southern Utah, and possibly maybe against Liberty and or Colorado State. Or it could have been 1-3, but it's just a lot different than saying that versus 0-4. There's a rhythm to the offense, and I understand there's some growing pains with Skyler, but also, too, at the end of the day, I don't think he was a starter at Austin Peay last year, too. So not only is he coming from a lower division, but he wasn't even getting starter reps back then. And so if the guy was Skylar Locklear, he would have been also progressing so much more because, I mean, he started, 4 games for UTEP, and Cade kind of just pops in there and starts getting things done without probably getting first-team reps and starting reps. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they're looking at in practice, but it's a little bit disturbing that they can't find it a little bit quicker than where we are right now.
You know, it's interesting. You're saying where they're at right now. I don't know if they have an identity. I don't know if they know where they're at right now. Adam, does that make sense? Like, they're still looking for their identity right now.
I get that, but there was a spark when Cade popped in. I think they have an identity on defense. I think the defense has an identity and is finding what's working. But Skylar's just more. I mean, Cade's just more built. He's just more built for it. I think he has a better arm. I think he has a better view of the field. Yes, he's going to make some mistakes here and there, but other than Skylar, I mean, when the pocket breaks down on Skylar, he just kind of shells up, and you know, we're behind the line of scrimmage. Where with Cade, he doesn't put us in those tough situations where we're like 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 13. He makes the game a little bit more manageable, and he gives us a chance. So my vote is for Cade, not just because he's the best 600 ESPN intern, but just because I think he gives us a chance to win.
Okay, good stuff, Adam. I appreciate the phone call, man. Thanks for weighing in. Hour number 2, right around the corner, Border City Ale House. We're here, Monday Night Football doubleheader. We'll react to that phone call, and we'll react to more. Get you ready for Monday Night Football, 1506 Lee Trevino, here on 600 ESPN El Paso. Sebastian Perez Navarro, Steve Kaplowitz back in action tomorrow. We are live here at Border City Ale House, 1506 Lee Trevino. Come on by. It's a party out here. We're getting ready for a Monday Night Football doubleheader. It gets started Jacksonville at Buffalo. The 0-2 Jaguars taking on the 2-0 Bills. Then 6:15, we'll have it for you. Washington, Cincinnati. This one gets started 6:15. We'll have the kickoff for you as part of Westwood One's coverage here, 600 ESPN El Paso. And we've got great happy hour specials going on right now until 7 o'clock at Border City Ale House. $3.50, $4.50, $5.50 pints that are the Monday night special. Also part of Monday night, $4 Jim Beam. But you can take advantage of happy hour every day out here at Border City Ale House. That's from 3 to 7. And they've got $6 nachos, $6 queso and loaded fries, $4 22-ounce domestic drafts, $4 Hornitos, $4 Crown, $4 Tito's. That's all here, Border City Ale House, as part of Happy Hour. And Monday Night Football, all happening here today. Well, we touched on a lot here in hour number 1. We've had some great phone calls, and we can keep the calls coming. 915-505-6009. Cowboy fans, where are you at right now? Are you disappointed, or are you optimistic from that second half yesterday against the Ravens? UTEP football fans, where are you at right now? Are you on to next season, on to basketball season, or are you still having hope for this year and what's left of it to salvage the season? Hey, there's still the full CUSA slate for the Miners. They're only 4 games in. They're 0-4 for sure, and that's, of course, not how this team wanted to start things off, but they made a quarterback change in the second half. What will that mean for their next game? This is a bye week for them, open week for UTEP football. And they've got Sam Houston next Thursday at the Sun Bowl. We could talk about that, or we could talk about this topic I want to talk about right now. Mountain West, Pac-12 expansion, and what is going on right now, and the latest. Where does UTEP stack in all of this right now? Well, here's what we heard to start the day. And it's interesting because things change so much. But this is in pen right here. Memphis, Tulane, South Florida, and UTSA, who are all courted by the Pac-12 behind the scenes. And I thought over the weekend, wow, these 4 teams are going to commit. These 4 teams are going to be Pac-12 affiliates. These 4 teams are going to make the jump and head over to the Pac-12, whatever that looks like right now. And for those keeping score at home or who are confused by the score back at home, here's what's going on right now in the Pac-12 for what we know. We do know this. We know, of course, Oregon State and we know that Washington State are part of the Pac-2 right now. Those are the only two members that are currently in this conference right now as it stands. We know that Boise State, San Diego State, Fresno State, and Colorado State were all recently courted to join the Pac-12's expansion efforts, or its efforts to just stay a conference, to just stay afloat. The NCAA requires 8 members to be in a conference, so they still needed to court a couple others. The Pac-12 or the Pac-6 or the Pac-2 needed more members to join them, even with the likes of Boise, San Diego State, Colorado State, and Fresno State. They needed a couple more, so a lot of rumors were floating around all weekend long. Was it going to be UTSA? Was it going to be a school like Memphis and Tulane? They were all courted by Pac-12 officials, and they were all offered to go over and move to the Pac-12. Well, we heard earlier today, and we woke up basically to this news, all those schools right there, Memphis, Tulane, South Florida, UTSA, have all committed to the American Athletic and said, no, we're not leaving. We're going to stay there despite all the interest to join the Pac-12. So what's next? What does the Pac-12 do here? Well, leaders of the conference said today that they are going to target other Mountain West members. They have currently sent an invite to Utah State, and the Aggies have accepted. So if you're doing the math at home and you're wondering, well, how many teams does that make it? That makes it 7 league affiliates. They still need one more. The Pac-12 needs one more conference affiliate to be a part of it to see what is next. Well, amid all the shuffling and what was all going on behind the scenes, we also found out today that the Mountain West is right now doing all they can to secure their members with financial incentives. And let's be honest. Why do teams want to move? Why do universities want to move from one conference to another? Well, I'll tell you why UTEP wants to leave Conference USA and why they want to move to the Mountain West. It's because of geographic reasons. It makes so much sense. But to everybody else, I would say to the 90% out there, the reason why other schools, other universities want to jump ship from their current conference to another is simply money. They see opportunity for financial incentives other places. Well, now some of the current Mountain West teams who are in that conference are being told by their conference at the top for the Mountain West, don't leave. We will pay you. We will keep you here. We will keep you with all these exit fees, all these different things that we're going to start receiving from these schools leaving. And this can be dispersed evenly or, going over to you. So I'll give you an example. UNLV, they were courted heavily by the Pac-12. Yahoo Sports is reporting right now UNLV is out of the mix from the Pac-12 because of financial incentives that are coming from the Mountain West. Same with Nevada. And, as far as Air Force goes, well, Air Force seems to be bolting to the American Athletic. So the Mountain West, I don't know if they're going to look to expand. I don't know if they want to stay at maybe 8 members just to stay intact, or what that looks like. But we do know in the new edition of the Mountain West, Utah State is leaving for the Pac-12 or whatever that looks like. And we do know that UNLV will stay in the Mountain West. I think it's way too early to figure out where the Mountain West goes, even though everybody expects UTEP to be among the first calls. They expect schools like Texas State and New Mexico State, which were also rumored over the weekend, to be calls from the Mountain West to join. But we don't know if that's going to be the case yet. I mean, this is so early into the process, guys, that I think that, a lot of people are relying on hope. A lot of people are relying on the Pac-12 to take some of these Mountain West schools. And now that the Mountain West comes back and financially makes it make sense for schools like San Jose State, Nevada, New Mexico, Wyoming, well, what does that mean for the Mountain West? Is it worth staying in Conference USA? Or for the Miners, is it worth pursuing the Mountain West, even if it's a conference that only has San Jose State, Nevada, New Mexico, Wyoming, UNLV, and so forth. I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, things change so fast. Alberto, I'll throw this example to you. Brett McMurphy, who's usually spot on. He's like one of the insiders for college football. He reported earlier today that Gonzaga was going 100% to the Pac-12 as a basketball-only school. Well, Nicole Arbach, who is the NBC insider, she reports that those rumors or those reports are incorrect, and that Gonzaga will stay in the West Coast Conference despite some of those reports. Things change basically by the hour when it comes to realignment, and it's just, it's fascinating to me.
Yeah, it's by the hour, by the minute. These conference alignments, they're changing, they're ever so forming. So I think that if you were to ask me, UTEP has to get itself together, get all its brass together from top to bottom, and say, let's get our butts in another conference where our fans feel more aligned with old foes and better aligned with what we really where we want to see ourselves in the future. Because right now, like a lot of our callers have said, the games aren't at the times they like or against people that they like, and this conference that they're in is changing, and UTEP fans look around and they don't see themselves really fitting into this conference. So a Mountain West conference, no matter what it looks like, and with the teams that have accepted to stay, it looks a lot better, and they need to get motivated and they need to get something together to make the Mountain West want them back.
Yeah, that's an interesting part too, right? Because what's more desirable to the Mountain West? It's a fair question. Is FCS program who can upgrade to FBS more desirable to a conference like the Mountain West versus UTEP? I don't know the answer to that. I think North Dakota State is being discussed behind the scenes. I think Montana is being discussed behind the scenes. I think a school like Idaho State is being discussed behind everybody's back here at this point. And, of course, UTEP is in those discussions. And, of course, New Mexico State is in that same line, that same arena as well. I just don't know what this all means. Like Noah Guerrero, he checks in on Twitter and X at the Noah G. Massive day from the Mountain West, getting commitments from UNLV and Air Force to stay. Pac-12, on the other hand, is getting embarrassed by all these swings and misses. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to disagree with that statement right there. It feels like right now the American Athletic and the Mountain West hold much more leverage at this point, than what the Pac-12 could offer. The American Athletics war chest has a ton of money. They have money to pay their affiliates. They have a TV agreement already with ESPN, CBS Sports. And as far as you see what's going on with the Pac-12 and the Mountain West, well, you're just seeing exit fees left and right. I don't know what the path forward is for the Pac-12 to fill their, their 8 required schools that they need to have. They have 4 members of the Mountain West who are already committed to leaving the Mountain West. Well, what's going to happen as far as trying to dissolve the Pac-12 if they don't get the required 8? Like, the Pac-12 has put themselves in a position where they have to get one more affiliate. They have to. That's just where they're at. In the Mountain West, they can play a wait-and-see approach. They can court other universities and see where they're at, or they can just, try to remain intact, and let's see what happens there. So very fascinating when it comes to conference realignment. I think a lot of people are in the boat of just jumping ship from Conference USA and going over to the Mountain West, but the thoughts of UTEP to the Pac-12, I don't think that. I think that's a really it's hard to make predictions in the conference realignment world, but UTEP to the Pac-12, whatever that looks like, I just see that being far-fetched just at this point right now. Leo_Miner fan checks in, talking a little UTEP football on Twitter and X. Good afternoon. I'm on the Cade Parade. Separate topic. If you want to answer this question, who is the greatest athlete to come out of El Paso? Do you have a top 2 or 3? A friend of mine says Aaron Jones, and then it's Eddie Guerrero. I couldn't answer. That's coming from Leo_Miners fan. It's a good question, Leo. To do a little Mount Rushmore of greatest athlete to come out of El Paso, that's a really good one right there, man. I mean, yeah, you go off just off the top of the head. You can include, of course, Showtime Aaron Jones, who killed it, by the way, for the Vikings yesterday. You can definitely include WWE wrestling sensation Eddie Guerrero. I'd still include, even though you said greatest athlete, I'd want to include some of the great coaches or great people who ended up being coaches like Nolan Richardson in that conversation or discussion. There's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of modern good ones out there, too, who could become something great. Like a KJ Lewis who could find his way into the NBA draft next year. I mean, there's some really good options. Kayla Thornton, who's killing it right now for a really good WNBA team in the Aces. Like, there's some really good the Liberty. There's some really, really good options right there, Leo. So, we'll take some submissions. We'll take some thoughts from other listeners on that topic right there. I like it. A couple other ones to mention. This is from Pinky. He said, I forgot to mention that UTEP is lacking sports in the following in order to be invited to other conferences like the Mountain West. Pinky mentioned baseball, men's soccer, women's golf, which UTEP has, by the way, Pinky. Come on. Swimming and diving. And he says, lack of facilities hurt too. I'll just mention this. That UTEP might lack in certain categories. They might be lacking in resources, facilities, and stuff like that. As far as fan support, I feel like they join the Mountain West. I'm not saying they'd be top 1, 2, or 3, but they would be competitive for attendance. UTEP had 41,600 in attendance for an FCS home opener for football, and this past weekend for Colorado State, they had a state pride night. They had just under 30,000. Like, I feel like UTEP can compete when it comes to some of those attendances if they're able to have success and sustain, excitement and momentum throughout a season. So there you go. There's some realignment conversation right there. We can get your thoughts on it. We can also get your thoughts on some football. 915-505-6009. Our lines are open for business. We are live here, Border City Ale House, 1506 Lee Trevino. We got a couple other mentions to talk about as well. Neff Poppy with a post on Twitter and X. Jorge Salgado, who dunks on Pinky, and we got a little Chuco Wayne as well. We'll do all of that coming up and more. Stay with us. Let's take a timeout right now. Charlie One is back with traffic, and then more of Sports Talk coming up next right here on 600 ESPN El Paso. All right, welcome back. We are getting ready for a Monday Night Football doubleheader. Sports Talk continues live out here at Border City Ale House, 1506 Lee Trevino. Come on by, stop by if you are getting off work. If you're thinking about what you're doing for Monday Night Football, come on out and join us. You might not be a fan of the Jaguars, the Bills, the Commanders, the Bengals, but you could join us to watch some great football action, maybe root on your fantasy team, whatever it is. Join us out here, Border City Ale House. We're having a lot of fun getting ready for the Monday Night Football doubleheader that's getting underway here coming up later tonight. We are live, and we are continuing 600 ESPN El Paso on Twitter and X, 600ESPNElPaso.com, and, of course, 600 ESPN El Paso, our free mobile app, where you could chat with us in real time and engage with the show. One other thing, and to kind of wrap it up here when it comes to conference realignment that I just want to mention, and this is pretty interesting right here. Number one, I'm not a math major, so I'm over here trying to do quick math and make sure that it's 8 teams, 8 affiliates on all sides, and I'm totally wrong. So, I'm looking at it right now based off the Utah State wrench that was thrown today and what that means. Both the Mountain West and the Pac-12, or should I say the Pac-7, both of them have 7 conference affiliates. If Utah State really jumped ship from the Mountain West to join the Pac-12 with the other 4 members that left, remember Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State, Boise State, if those schools all leave, then that means it's 7-7, which doesn't solve anything. In fact, it complicates everything even more. And that means it goes back to the schools that are available. Well, you talk about the Pac-12 and you talk about the Mountain West. Who might be available out there for both these conferences? UTEP is mentioned. New Mexico State is mentioned. Texas State is out there as well, who plays in the Sun Belt. But everybody else wants to stay intact, it seems like. Even Air Force, which I thought Air Force was for sure leaving to the American Athletic. Turns out, as of today, Air Force wants to remain intact and stay in the Mountain West. So this does get confusing. This does get very interesting. And it feels like someone's going to be left out. For UTEP fans and for UTEP's case, they hope that they're not left out in this conversation right here. They hope that they're top of mind when it comes to the Mountain West or anything that makes sense for them. And then as far as exit fees or anything like that goes, well, look at what the Mountain West could be seeing as far as a payday goes if all these exit fees come to place, and, those schools end up departing for the Pac-12 when it's all said and done. It's very fascinating. We could talk about it here on the program, 915-505-6009. Also, 600 ESPN El Paso on Twitter and X. We got some more comments coming our way. This is coming in from Victor Neff at Neff Poppy. Cade starting the next game? If given the chance to play the last week's first half, UTEP would have won easily. Playing like he did the second half, plus the potential he could have had under a competent coach last year. Yes, I went there. The Sun Bowl would always be full. Wow. Whew, man, Victor Neff Poppy. I mean, we're 4 games in, and people are taking shots at head coach Scotty Walden, right? I mean, 4 games into his tenure here. That's just the impatient nature of UTEP football fans, and that's just the reality right there. UTEP Soccer getting a shout-out on Twitter and X. This is coming in from Chuco Wayne. Forgot to shout out UTEP Soccer. Let's show out for them this week as well. UTEP Soccer, by the way, they had a draw against Kennesaw State. 1-1 was the tie. Anita Quintero scored her 4th goal in the tie game. They've got a match this week. It's going to be September 26th and 29th. This weekend, busy weekend for UTEP Soccer. They've got Middle Tennessee in town and also Western Kentucky in town. So let's see what the soccer team can cook up. I would say they're just kicking off their conference slate. Next week they've got Liberty and FIU on the road, and then the week after, Jacksonville State. So this is a good time to watch some UTEP soccer if you want to do so out at University Field. They play this week, Thursday and Sunday. So that's also going on this week. 915-505-6009. That's our telephone number. 600 ESPN El Paso on Twitter and X, and 600 ESPN ElPaso.com. Heard the news this weekend. This is a big one. Jake Fetty, Del Valle sensational junior quarterback. Jake Fetty has announced his commitment to Arizona State. That's the news over the weekend. He announced his commitment via Twitter and X. 4-star quarterback who's 6'2". Man, I got a chance to see him this past weekend against Canutillo, and he absolutely sliced up that Eagles defense. Man, he was so impressive. I mean, even the Canutillo fans were telling me after the game or hopping on my comments and saying that they were impressed with the effort they saw from the quarterback, Jake Fetty. He was the city's best quarterback as a sophomore last year. And this year, he's doing it, and he announces that Arizona State will be the place that he is going to be committed to. He had other Big 12 offers like Houston, Kansas, Baylor, TCU, Texas Tech. Of course, UTEP was in the race as well for Jake Fetty, but yeah, the junior quarterback who has been so sensational all up to this point. It's just very, very impressive that that he's going off to Arizona State. What about that news there, Alberto? Getting a chance to see Jake Fetty committing to Arizona State. Their head coach, Kenny Dillingham, was in town just 2 weeks ago to watch him in person, and then 2 weeks later, Fetty commits to Arizona State.
Yeah, it's huge news for the city, huge news for him, and I'm super excited to see what his career, just the trajectory of how it goes. And, I'll say this, I did see a lot of comments about, not about where he decided to go, but just, about the fact that he decided to get out of El Paso. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's another good one right there, because you saw, you remember the last big prospect quarterback to leave El Paso and go off to a different school. I mean, you could talk about players like Cedarius Barfield, who made a position change from quarterback and all-around athlete to really just hybrid safety / corner at San Diego State. So he left town to go off and pursue other things. You could, of course, everybody's going to think and remember Steven Montez, the other Del Valle quarterback, who coincidentally enough also goes to the Big 12 in Colorado. Those are the prospects at the quarterback position that just come to mind right away. But there's others who've gone away from El Paso and done great things at the college level. So I'm wishing the best for Jake Fetty. I hope the best for him in this regard. Sebastian Perez Navarro, you got a chance to watch Jake Fetty earlier this year. Your thoughts on him committing to Arizona State?
The phenomenal quarterback, first of all. His pocket presence is is great, to say the least. He's got great field IQ, and I think that these next years he could really develop. My questioning is this. It's not about this school. I think Arizona State is a great institution. However, it's the timing. As a junior, and obviously Manny Fuller did this last year, committing as a junior, is it too early to begin thinking about commitments or to frankly commit right off the bat? So obviously I'm not in Jake Fetty's inner circle, but whether or not he made the decision too early is something up for debate, and it's definitely worth considering because we're not even halfway through the regular season.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Like, you don't see commitments happen at this state. Yeah, it's a really good point. I'd say this: the fact that he commits at this point, and the fact that the head coach, Arizona State's head coach Kenny Dillingham, was here 2 weeks ago to scout him in person. Well, that tells me that the pitch was there, and that they wanted, they might be wearing Arizona State right now as far as their jersey goes, but that coaching staff, that's what they wanted. They wanted Fetty to commit to that coaching staff right there, the Dillingham coaching staff. So, and I'm not trying to make any predictions or anything, but if Arizona State has some success, what if Kenny Dillingham gets hired elsewhere and, Fetty's commitment gets moved over to a different school? You never know. I mean, Dillingham's also the youngest coach in college football right now, so he made an offer to a guy in class of 2026. Arizona State made the jump to the Big 12 just this past year as far as conference reshuffling goes. So maybe they've got some big plans in store here for the future and what they want out of this quarterback in Jake Fetty. So I think it's an interesting as far as timing goes. And you don't necessarily see players commit mid-season like that. It also tells you that, man, this takes away all the distractions, all the people who are coming to come out and visit him and stuff like that. Maybe deters some of those people from, just, I wouldn't say bothering him, but letting him just focus on football right now instead of the recruitment process. That's what this does right here for Jake Fetty. So we could talk about it here on the program, 915-505-6009. Let's talk some NFL storylines next. I also want to talk a little bit about, what happened this weekend in college football for sure. But before we do all of that, let's send it right back to Sebastian Perez Navarro. He's back at our River Oaks Property Schoolyard Sports Studio, and he has the latest with another bottom-of-the-hour Sports Center update.
Thank you, Adrian. Let's get to the headlines. Lions defensive end Marcus Davenport is likely out for the rest of the season. Davenport suffered a likely season-ending injury in his team's victory over the Arizona Cardinals. Davenport suffered torn triceps, sources told ESPN's Adam Schefter on Monday. Coach Dan Campbell made the announcement today that Davenport's injury likely would end his season, but added that the veteran was seeking additional options. Davenport sustained the injury in the third quarter Sunday, but returned to the game with a sleeve on his left arm. Let's continue. Disappointingly, the injury bug is spreading around the NFL, as Chargers rookie offensive tackle Joe Alt has a sprained MCL. The rookie right tackle suffered a sprained MCL in Sunday's loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers and will likely miss Sunday's game against the Kansas City Chiefs. Alt, selected fifth by the Chargers in this year's draft, suffered the injury on his team's final offensive position in the fourth quarter against the Steelers' defensive tackle Cameron Hayward, rolled into his right leg. Alt adds to a lengthy list of Chargers injuries from Sunday's games. Let's keep it right in football. The Ravens are going to sign Yannick Ngakoue to the practice squad. Free agent outside linebacker who has 69 career sacks is returning to the Baltimore Ravens, for whom he last played for in 2020. Ngakoue at 29 is being signed to the Baltimore's practice squad, according to another source, including ESPN's Adam Schefter on Monday. And hey, we just talked about it. Our featured game of the week is in. We'll get to see Del Valle's quarterback and recent Arizona State committee Jake Fetty take on the Jefferson Silver Foxes, and on Thursday, the Bowl of the West Side. All of those games being brought to you on 600 ESPN's YouTube channel. That's your Sports Center update. I'm Sebastian Perez Navarro.
Great job there, Sebastian, as we continue here from Border City Ale House on Monday Night Football action. It's getting underway. Bill's already driving into Jaguars territory. Josh Allen with a great passing play to get them all the way down inside the 30-yard line. Let's see if Buffalo can score here on their opening drive against the winless. Jacksonville Jaguars at 0-2 already. We're out here, Border City Ale House, 1506 Lee Trevino. Come on down. Monday Night Football doubleheader action's about to get, actually it's already underway. Bills Jaguars starting right now. And then after that, we've got Commanders Bengals. We're taking you all the way up to that one. And then we've got, of course, halftime coverage and halftime giveaways here. Thanks to our great friends at All That Music and Video here coming up on the program. By the way, Border City Ale House is the place to be for Monday night specials. You can take advantage of $3.50, $4.50, $5.50 pints that are happening here. Also take advantage of $4 Jim Beam. And then happy hour. It's happening all the way here for another hour and a half, all the way up to 7 o'clock. You can take advantage of $6 nachos. So if you're hungry, come on by Border City Ale House. If you're hungry, also take advantage of the loaded fries. Those are $6 as well. During happy hour, you can take advantage of $4 22-ounce domestic drafts, $4 Hornitos, $4 Fireball, and $4 Crown as we continue. That's all here. 1506 Lee Trevino and Border City Ale House for Monday Night Football action. Bills already down inside the red zone. Man, as I'm talking, they're moving this ball here in this game, and that's this high-powered Buffalo offense. Let's talk some other NFL storylines here from this past weekend, and then I got to get Sebastian's thoughts on his Commanders tonight. They're taking on the Bengals. That's what we've got lined up for you here on the program today. A lot of El Paso shine, a lot of UTEP shine over the weekend. I'm talking about NFL's Aaron Jones for the Minnesota Vikings, who are surprisingly 3-0, and they skunked the Houston Texans yesterday. That wasn't even close. C.J. Stroud, he struggled mightily yesterday. I mean, his numbers looked okay, but you really watch that second half, they had no chance defensively. And then I just love that offense right now that's humming for Minnesota. Aaron Jones is killing it. Justin Jefferson is involved. This is all behind Sam Darnold, who no one thought would do anything up to this point when it comes to NFL in this season. And he was just kind of written off. I kept saying, well, when are the Vikings trading for a quarterback? They need to trade for a quarterback. Well, I was wrong. They have a quarterback right now, and it's Sam Darnold, and he's showing what he could do here early on into the season. So big shout-out to Aaron Jones for his success early on with this new squad. He's saying that he's having the best time of his life as an NFL player, which is cool. Will Hernandez, already 3 starts in the bag for the Cardinals. They lose yesterday 20-13, but, man, you watch that Detroit game, Lions had a pick 6 that was called off the board that I was just shocked on. And then the Cardinals had a couple opportunities in the second half. They just couldn't do it, couldn't punch it in. I think Arizona's good. I think the Lions are a little vulnerable. That's where I'm at. Tyrese Knight. Oh, man. I'm going to be upset watching Seahawks football this year. I'm saying that as a Rams fan. I can't stand the Seahawks. I can't stand Seattle. It's been fun to watch them suffer these past couple seasons as a non-playoff or non-contender, I should say. They made the playoffs recently, but a non-contender. And now Tyrese Knight is on that defense, and he's already had 7 tackles at the linebacker position. Didn't play week 1, but has played in back-to-back weeks. Yesterday, he had a tackle for loss as well. Tyrese Knight, I threw it on Twitter and X. They say rookie out of Texas, El Paso. Can you say rookie out of UTEP? Alberto, is that too much to ask? Rookie out of UTEP? Yeah. I mean, I was getting comments on social media yesterday. Oh, no one knows what UTEP is. That's branding right there, guys. You got to get that UTEP brand out there.
Yeah, no respect. UTEP can't ever get it right for UTEP. I feel so bad. And then people make it even worse on Twitter. I saw the one where he's like, the national audience doesn't know what UTEP is. I'm like, that one really stung because it might be partially true.
Man. Yeah, it honestly might be. Elijah Klein plays right guard for Tampa Bay. Eric Tomlinson's already seen some action. That Chargers team is depleted. Eric Tomlinson is playing at that tight end position. And then Jacob Cowing getting a chance to return some punts, return some kicks for the 49ers. Let's get back to the phone lines right now. 915-505-6009. Next up is Augustine, who is back talking some Dallas Cowboys football. Augustine, good afternoon, man. Another loss for the Cowboys. That means you're calling in.
Hey, that means we're all happy. That means that unfortunately, it was a primetime game or whatever people want to see it because of our location. They have to show the Cowboy game. But is this what the Cowboys are all about? That they basically again screwed up on coaching and got rid of a couple of people, and this is what it's turning out to be. Is this thing what we call screwing up? Not in Jerry Jones' vocabulary. Are Cowboy fans ever going to understand that they're not ever going to win a Super Bowl with, Jerry Jones at the front of this franchise? And just to make it worse, most Cowboy fans in El Paso are UTEP football fans. So that's got to be a double whammy.
Okay, Augustine, speaking of double whammies, let me jump in here. Speaking of double whammies, Dallas comes back in the second half. They were down big time in the first half, and they come back in the second half only to lose in the end. UTEP, they were down big in the first half. They come back in the second half only to lose in the end. So Cowboy fans, Miner fans can sympathize in the way that their games finished over the weekend, kind of very similar to each other. The difference is, I expected the Miners to lose on Saturday. I really did. I put it in pen. I didn't expect them to beat Colorado State. And as far as the Cowboys at home against the Ravens, all right, you're going to lose one to the Saints? No problem. They didn't even show up. But to not show up in that first half against the Ravens, that was what was disappointing to me. I felt like the Ravens, Lamar has so much success against these non-conference affiliates, whatever it might be. But man, I just really did not like how they started that game. I was really disappointed with that. The second half comeback, sure. But Augustine, I started off the show by just saying simply, I don't take the Cowboys seriously because I've already seen it in the postseason. I've already seen it in the playoffs. This team can make the playoffs. They can make you excited. They can make you feel like they're going to the Super Bowl. But in the end, what are they going to do? They're going to do what they've always done in the postseason. That's disappointing. That's just what I've seen so far.
Do you think the Cowboys will make the postseason?
Yes, I do. Have you seen the NFC East? It's terrible right now. The Eagles squeezed out that victory yesterday against the Saints, and I thought they dominated.
The Giants won.
You look at everybody else. Yeah, I know the Giants won too. That's a good point, Alberto. But they're 1-2. I don't take them seriously at all. And sorry, Commanders fans, a.k.a. Sebastian. I don't take Washington as seriously. Yeah, I would take the Cowboys in that division as a playoff team.
I don't know. It's just. For a city that's so much a Cowboy fan, they should switch to another team and just like that. My favorite all-time commercial now, Adrian. I think you've heard it, where they're saying that they're going to give mattresses away when the Cowboys win the Super Bowl. Oh, but that's never going to happen. And they switched their allegiance to at least the Kansas City Chiefs might have a chance of winning the Super Bowl. So. Should people just say bye Cowboys, bye UTEP football, and wait for another 5-10 years to see if they do anything?
Oh man, I love it. Man, your disdain of the Cowboys is what fuels me sometimes. It's hilarious. But I appreciate your phone call. Thanks for weighing in, Augustine. Thanks for chatting on the program with us. 915-505-6009. Oh, man. What Augustine was talking about there was the genius marketing strategy that was invented by our very own Steve Kaplowitz for household furniture. That's right. They said, purchase a Tempur-Pedic at one of their locations. If the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, you'll get it for free. And you've heard those radio commercials. I don't need to say it again. You'll hear it probably at this break. And I love that promotion there by Household Furniture and what they were able to cook up with us here on the show. So that was really good stuff by them. Good stuff there by you, Augustine. And we will continue here on the program. Let's take a timeout. When we come back, we'll wrap up hour number 2. We'll get you ready for that Commanders-Bengals game. We'll get Sebastian's thoughts. He's a Washington fan. We'll get his thoughts on that game. If you want to talk anything football, now's the time to do it. Cowboy fans, where are you at right now? 915-505-6009. 6009, 600 ESPN El Paso on Twitter next, and 600 ESPNElPaso.com. Coming back with more in a moment. Stay with us as Sports Talk continues here on 600 ESPN El Paso. Alberto Reta and Sebastian Perez Navarro back at our River Oaks Property Schoolyard Sports Studios. I'm Adrian Broadus, and I'm taking you through a Monday Night Football doubleheader out at Border City Ale House. 1506 Lee Trevino, that's where we will be for the next hour or so. Actually, we're going to get all the way up to halftime of this Bengals Commanders game. Come out and watch some football with us. If you're watching this Bengals-Jaguars game right now, or if you want to watch that Commanders-Bengals game next, join us out here, Border City Ale House, 1506 Lee Trevino on El Paso's east side. And they were talking about their new menu today. I was looking at some of this. Smash burgers are one of their favorites right now. Also, the Ale House chicken wings that are served with celery, carrots, and ranch. You can get hot and honey, hot and spicy, lemon pepper. This is my favorite right here. Spicy lemon pepper, garlic, parmesan, or mango habanero. That's Ale House chicken wings over here at Border City Ale House. Also, the Nashville hot sandwich. I heard a lot of great things about this one. Fried chicken breasts tossed with their own Nashville sauce and topped with creamy coleslaw and pickles. That's all here, Border City Ale House. Come feast with us and join us for happy hour that is going on until 7 o'clock. 915-505-6009. That's our telephone number here on the program. 600 ESPN El Paso on Twitter and X, and 600 ESPN El Paso. .com, where you could check it out. Also, more coming in from the Mountain West and the realignment stuff. This is Enrique Ortiz. To quote Lee Corso, not so fast there, buddy. Looks like USU may not be a done deal. Talking about Utah State and UNLV and Nevada and San Jose, who have not signed what is going on with the Mountain West and the Pac-12. It's rumored that Utah State will join the Pac-12 in their efforts to move over to a different conference. And it's rumored that UNLV, Nevada, and San Jose State will all stay within the Mountain West. Same with Air Force, sticking with the Mountain West. So we'll see what ends up happening when it's all said and done. Again, UTEP bye week here for football, but we're talking a lot of football when it comes to the NFL and with college football as well. You know, I talked a lot in the open about the Rams and the 49ers game. There were some interesting games yesterday. I'll say this, as far as the Colts beating the Bears 21-16 and what that means, I don't really know. I don't think we learned anything about either of those teams. Right now, as it stands, I think the Steeler fans should be the most excited right now. And Alberto, I'll bring you in for this one right here as our resident Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I think when you just stack up, all right, what's okay on this team? Their offense goes through Fields, and they just get whatever they can do or get whatever they can as far as that production offensively. But on defense, I think that's the best overall unit right now in the NFL. The Pittsburgh Steelers defense, I'll take that as a unit by itself over almost anything in the NFL as of right now. That defense is scary.
Yeah, the defense is lights out, and I saw a stat. In the second half, the defense allowed the Chargers to -5 yards. This with the help of 5 sacks. So, yeah, I mean, TJ's a well-oiled machine.
Gosh.
They're but the thing is, Cam Hayward's also a well-oiled machine that's a veteran on that defensive line and that can provide so much help, and it gets so much. They need double teams, but you can't double team both of them, so that creates a lot of distraction at the defensive line. So, yeah, it's fun to watch if you're a Steelers fan, and if you're on the other side, good luck.
Yeah, good luck is right, because look at what happened. All right, so they've played 3 games so far. Falcons only put up 10, Broncos with 6, Chargers with 10. I'm not talking about those being great offenses, Atlanta, Denver, or Los Angeles. Not great offenses, especially when you know that Justin Herbert was out pretty much all that second half yesterday and really throughout that game faced a lot of injuries. Then they've got next week they have the Colts, the Cowboys. So offenses get a little bit better for Pittsburgh. Not saying a lot better, but a little better here. I'm interested to see how they'll stack up against those two offenses. I'm talking about the Colts and the Cowboys here moving forward. Hey, before we get to our break, let's go over to Sebastian Perez Novato. It's the Bengals taking on the Commanders. What do we expect right now of Washington here in this one here tonight, Sebastian?
My heart is telling me hope, but my head, and the reality is, I think the Washington Commanders are in for a bad outing. Last week, you win the game, 18 points, but they're through 7 field goals. They broke multiple records in the process, but at the end of the day, you're walking into a Cincinnati Bengals team, which is hungry for their first win, which only 2 players have had sacks, and they're facing a frankly weak offensive line. Jaden Daniels has already been sacked 7 times this year. Not to mention that he got a little banged up last week against the New York Giants. If he continues to run, the Bengals are going to easily eat him up. The offense, too, is looking for a spark, and the Washington Commander defense was weak against the New York Giants last week. In all honesty, they just got lucky. Not giving up back-to-back 2-point conversions was pure luck, because those defensive looks were outrageous. You're not defending the flat on a 2-point conversion? That's ridiculous to me. That is absolutely ridiculous. I'm also one of the most pessimistic Washington fans you'll ever meet. So
I like it.
But frankly, the defense is weak, and if we can't get it together today, the Bengals, we're in for a rude awakening, and I think that this is a bounce-back game for Cincinnati, and if Jaden Daniels can't stay in the pocket a little bit more, then the offense is really going to struggle. They already struggled with ball distribution the first week. The second week, they were able to mount up on that, but at the end of the day, they couldn't convert in the red zone. And when you can't score touchdowns, that doesn't make you a good football team. So, disappointingly, I think that tomorrow, there's going to be a lot of pain for me on this radio show.
Well, we'll see what happens, man. Commanders, Bengals on deck. We'll take a break right now. When we come back, we'll get you ready for the big one coming up here on 600 ESPN El Paso. Final countdown here, final segment on the program as we get you ready for Monday Night Football action. Commanders, Bengals, they're going at it here in less than 15. We'll have it for you, Westwood One's coverage of Monday Night Football. But we're out here, Border City Ale House, 1506 Lee Trevino. Come on by. We're watching we're watching Bills and Jaguars right now. Bills all over the Jags early on, 13-0. Shout out to Josh Allen, who offensively is just dicing up Jacksonville. See what happens throughout the game. We'll have it for you, and we're watching it right now on all the big screens. Border City Ale House, by the way, has the perfect football setup. So not only for tonight here, Monday Night Football, but if you're looking to watch any kind of football, stop by. They've got great daily specials tonight. They've got $3.50, $4.50, $5.50 pints. They also have $4 Jim Beam, $4 Ornito, $4 Crown, $4 Tito's, and also $4 22-ounce domestic drafts, all here at Border City Ale House. Happy hour continues here for another big hour, and then they still have great specials on $6 nachos, $6 loaded fries, all here at Border City Ale House. And let's watch some Monday Night Football action here. We also got great giveaways thanks to our great partners out at All That Music and Video. I love All That Music and Video. They do such a great job when it comes to vinyl. Whenever I buy my vinyl records, I'm going to All That Music and Video. No doubt about it. That's out at the fountains. We've got some great collector's items here. For Buffalo Bills fans, we got a Josh Allen Pop Funko. We've got a Joe Burrow Pop Funko for all the Bengals fans out there. We also have a Trevor Lawrence action figure, a Pop Funko as well, and a 93.1 Kiss FM t-shirt. We also got a Commander lanyard and some keychains as well. We've got some great prizes from the Oscar Arieta Agency. We've got also some tickets to give away from UTEP football. All of that and more. Border City Ale House. Come on out and join us, 1506 Lee Trevino, here as we continue for Monday Night Football action. It's the Bengals and the Commanders, and it's on deck. Cincinnati 0-2 on the year. They need a win. They need a win in a big way possible. Saw 3 Bengals fans join us here in the building. They're getting ready for this one. I like the jersey distribution and layout because they're going the white color rush and they're going the black. We've got 2 Joe Burrow and 1 Jamar Chase. I like the distribution. And a little LSU connection right there. just to begin with. So good stuff. And we've got plenty of space and plenty of room for more fans to come out here. If you're not necessarily a Washington or Cincinnati fan, well, just watch some great football. It's all going on right now. We're giving away prizes at halftime, Border City Ale House. Hey, guys, for the rest of the week, we've got tomorrow our Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl picks. I did terrible. I don't know how I'm going to survive in this league anymore. I have to face the music and face Bernie Olivas and Steve Kaplowitz tomorrow for our Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl watch. Later on in the week, of course, Wednesday, we've got our usual Jay Jaffe and Jeff Erickson talking fantasy sports and baseball. Baseball is really heating up right now. Every game matters here at this point for those teams who are going at it. What's going on with the Mets? What's going to happen with them? How are the Yankees soaring over everyone right now? It looks like they've got a closer here. Who's going to be the final in and final out in the wild card? Twins making a push. Mariners trying to make a push. One last one here to close out the year. Red Sox, Rays outside looking in. Diamondbacks, Braves. They're going at it right now as trying to get that last playoff spot. Not to mention the Mets, who are in that race as well. So things are really heating up for baseball here, and that's coming up on the program on Wednesday. Thursday, we've got some Thursday Night Football. That's right. You can listen to Thursday Night Football here on 600 ESPN El Paso moving forward. Thank you to Tim Haggerty. Thank you to El Paso Chihuahuas Baseball. Another great season, another great year of a partnership with them. They wrapped up their play yesterday, and that means we've got Thursday night NFL action. And the Dallas Cowboys play this Thursday, by the way, against the New York Football Giants. That's on deck for this week. And then, of course, Football Friday night returning into full form coming up on Friday. And we are so excited for all that and more in store. But for now, we're out here, Border City Ale House. It's the Monday Night Football doubleheader, and it's already starting right now. End of the first quarter, Buffalo leading Jacksonville 13-0. This one taking place on ESPN. And then we're going to have Commanders-Bengals coming up here on 600 ESPN El Paso after Sports Talk and after this upcoming traffic update with Charlie One here live from Cincinnati, Ohio. Does Cincinnati get their first win on the season? Or can Washington pull off a road upset? All that is coming up here, and all that is on deck. Come out and join us. Border City Ale House, about 45 minutes left of happy hour specials. But if you get here later than that, no worries. You can take advantage of the Monday night specials, and that is $3.50, $4.50, $5.50 pints here on the program. I'll leave you with this final bit of breaking news. Pete Thamel in on this one. In the wake of Utah State's commitment to the Pac-12, UNLV their commitment to the Mountain West has not been formalized. The school sent an MOU to the Mountain West, but that was predicated on all 8 schools committing. The school is now exploring options. Wow, UNLV possibly going to the Pac-12? We'll find out, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow for more conference realignment news. But for this one right here, I'm Adrian Broadus signing off from Border City Ale House. Alberto Reta and Sebastian Perez Navarro, special thanks to them for holding it down back at our studios. We'll be back tomorrow with more here on 600 ESPN El Paso.